We are in Nashville, Tennessee. All right. Bring the juice, Todd. It's been a long time coming. A long time coming, baby. We got a lot of things to get into, but we want to talk ball. Yeah. And you got it tatted on you. I wore the hoodie today. Let's just get right into it, okay? That walk-on mentality.
Yeah.
I want to know your journey first. Coming out of high school, you decide, hey, I'm going to go take this walk-on spot at Michigan State.
Yep.
For me, it was a family conversation. I had other options. What was your story?
Yeah, so I literally so I'm from the smallest town in Michigan. We had like bring your tractor to school day, Napoleon, Michigan. So just like,
Love that.
You can probably relate to that.
Love that.
Yeah, so my dad went to Michigan State. Huge fan, to the point where he helped work in the recruiting office, mailing letters out to recruits when he was there. Grew up going to games, but like no one from my town had ever even played Division II football, so
this was new.
It was a dream. Like saying it was a dream come true is like it wasn't even close to a dream, because like I was compared to like being like I'm going to be the CEO of Microsoft. It's like not even in the realm of possibility. So I was going to go to I had no Division II offers, no Division I offers. Was going to go to a Division III school and try to play football and baseball. Baseball was probably my better sport, but loved football. And then literally May of my senior year, right? So I'm going to school in 4 months or whatever. I got called down to the office, right? And Division III coaches came all the time. Called down to the office, and it's Michigan State's offensive coordinator. And I looked down and I was like,
holy shit.
Right. And literally, it was a new staff. Like Coach D'Antonio was new, and so actually I didn't recognize him. And he had like a Spartan helmet on, and in my head I'm like, well, Spartan logo is like common.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people copy it. So it could be a Division III school I don't know about, And he's like, we got sent here by Jackson High's head coach, that's the biggest school in Michigan. And we have a couple of preferred walk-on spots open. And I took second in state in wrestling, and Coach Antonio loved wrestlers because like gritty,
of course,
and like with Michael Chandler walk on, like that kind of, he was a wrestler, walk on wrestler, kind of relate to that. So that's the only reason I got the opportunity. What's crazy is the only reason that Jackson High coach saw me, I played guard on offense, and I played linebacker on defense because I was chubby until my senior year. Like I was not in good shape, and I just started crushing the weights, and then I got in really good shape, but then I still didn't know how to play any other position. And so our tight end didn't show up, and I just went to like hang out with the guys doing 7-on-7 in the summer. We play all the big schools. Tight end doesn't show up, and I jump in there. Well, all of a sudden I'm like way more athletic than I used to be, and I made a couple one-handed catches. And Michigan State showed up at Jackson High. They were like, do you have any guys like to fill these walk-on spots? And he was like, if you talk to anyone, go talk to Todd Anderson and Napoleon. So like, if I wouldn't have just like come to hang with the team, you're one conversation, meeting one person, and one opportunity away from changing your whole life.
Yeah.
When I look at like the decision just to go to that singular 7-on-7 for no reason, like my life would be vastly different if I did. I would be sitting here. I would like so many things wouldn't happen. So. That's why like I'm sometimes I'm guilty of saying yes to too much stuff, because I really think like you never know that thing that's going to change everything for you.
Of course.
So anyways, they recommend me. I'll go back and forth, and I'll never forget. End of May, I get a call that they're going to offer me a preferred walk-on spot. But at that point, still though, like I'm so far out of my element thinking about even going to Michigan State. I wasn't that good. I was nervous about it, and it wasn't a for sure thing. Like it was like everyone in my town is like
not gonna make it.
Oh, dude! Like I can only imagine the stuff I didn't hear. But
right.
And so I remember I had I still have it to this day. My mom was a kindergarten teacher at the time.
Awesome.
My parents are both teachers. We made a pros and cons list of the Division III school, Michigan State. And it was dead even, like the amount of pros and cons. And then the last thing, the one thing that put it over Michigan State, will you regret this? And it was like, when I'm 70, just having the what if in my head, like I don't think I could live with that. And it's funny because like that's, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but when I think about every big decision I've made in my life, that seems to be the question I always ask myself. Because I think if if you can look back and something doesn't work out, I think you can live with it. But
Yep.
but the worst is just thinking, what if I gave it a shot?
Exactly.
And so this seems all really fun and positive up to this point. And then it came first day of camp, right? And so
Did you show up in fall camp?
yeah, so everyone's first, training all summer. Even, you guys come in, the recruits come in and train.
Yeah, Scarlet guys.
And I was in like physically good condition, because I was like more out of nervous energy of just like, I don't want to show up not in shape. But man, like driving from my house to East Lansing, and I'm an only child, and my parents knew kind of, the car ride was silent. We're all like the type that's just like nervous, will like shut down. And I remember like I got out of the car, I was starting to like tackle. He was walking in, he's got long hair, he's 6'7".
Grown man.
I was like,
Yeah.
and there's a big difference between an 18-year-old kid and a 23-year-old dude.
Dude.
And it was like,
Going through a Division I program.
and then I throughout the first week, I quickly realized why I didn't have any offers. Like it was very apparent.
These guys are good.
Yeah, not only was I like not as like skilled, I didn't know football. Like I didn't know schemes, I didn't know coverages, I didn't understand anything beyond where I should line up and like what I do. I didn't have like a broad
Scope.
approach.
Yeah.
I didn't know what other people were doing on the field. And so the fourth day I called my mom and I'm like, I'm gonna have to transfer. To the point where they were like getting transcripts around, like
Oh, wow.
it was rough. And that to this day, mentally, that first camp was like probably the hardest thing I've ever done, just because
Yeah.
I hated every day. Probably the whole first semester. Like I was like a top 10 kid at school, academic probation. Waking up at 5 a.m. to lift. Like it was just a mess. I was just not good enough to be there. But I think the thing that really like gave me confidence was the weight room. And I would just put in extra time. And when I got there, we had a pretty bad culture. Like we had John L. Smith, we were a disaster. They recruited guys out of pure talent. Culture, character was not like the highest priority. And when I got there, it was almost like, how do we go out the most? How do we work the least amount we can? And then by the time we left, it was a complete opposite.
Yeah.
And so
That's
I just did
good.
the weight
That's
room
awesome
hard.
to see.
Yeah, it was cool. And then so by the time spring came around and they moved me to Vienna, I was like, oh, I think I can actually like play.
Yeah.
To the point where I went from like almost quitting and then coming into my redshirt, my second year, my redshirt freshman year, Coach D came up to me before. He's like, we're going to give you a chance to like
Get some reps.
and like potentially start. Like I was like, spring ball was pretty great for me, and I ended up getting hurt the next 3 years in a row. So I tore my quad, which if you want to see, it's
It's
to
nasty.
this day orthopedic surgeons are like, it's gnarly. So
Yeah. Oh, fuck. River, you got that on camera?
like yeah. So literally like we were in summer conditioning. I pulled my quad. It wasn't a big deal, and normal pull, no big deal. A couple weeks out. Week before camp, I get out of the shower I already have the pull quad. I slip into like a hurdle stretch position. It just goes boom, and
Slip in the shower?
yes, in my house.
Oh,
But
my God.
right, so now I'm like, okay, I'm going into camp. I want to get a scholarship. Being a walk-on, I'm like, I'm not gonna tell it. I didn't tell anything.
I've been there.
So we show up the first day of camp, 20 half gasser test, right? Which is for 20 times cross field and back. We had 17 seconds. We had a 35-second rest. So we had a really bad condition. It was a tough conditioning test.
Yeah.
And the muscle I tore is my rectus femoris. It's the only quad that crosses your knee and your hip. So if I bent over just a little bit, it would alleviate some of the stress, and I ran the whole thing. And I woke up the next day, and my leg was blue from my hip to my foot. And
Had to go tell the training room at
Michigan
that
State
point.
had to buy the first pair of Normatec boots. They're like 20 grand because they were so afraid I was going to get blood clots because it was crazy.
Fuck.
And like, they didn't even know it was torn like that because it was so swollen.
Wow.
And so that was out. Next year, come back. I'm starting on like our third down package at the end. Pop off some cartilage in my knee surgery like the week before camp. And so 3 years in a row, I just never thought I was going to play, to the point where I was literally walking down the hall with Kirk Cousins, and I remember looking at him and being like, I think I'm going to have to be done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna give it one more shot in spring ball. And Kirk was like, Kirk's the best, and he's like, I'll be praying for you. Next practice, my knee's killing me. Couldn't really like do much, and I hit like this big tackle, and my leg was straight. It just went like bang, like crack. And I'm like,
that's it.
That's it, dude. That's the end. And kind of hurt. It was at the end of practice. Wake up the next day and go to warm up. Pain free, like completely pain free.
God touched that.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And so what actually happened is, it turned out, the reason I know this now is I had a 2-centimeter chunk of bone floating in my knee, and it was lodged in a bad spot. And 2 years ago, I had to get it taken out because it came dislodged. But it just happened to like go somewhere that didn't affect it, and ended up, then from that, moved fullback, ended up starting. It was like a dream come true. It was crazy.
Backtrack a little bit. I think, first of all, first camp as a walk-on is hard.
Dude.
It's fucking hard. Because I didn't get to do summer training. I got thrown in first day of fall camp. And me, I walked in there 146 pounds, shaved head, no facial hair at all.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks I'm like a new kicker.
Yeah.
And I'm in the receiver room.
Yep.
Everyone's looking at me. I was the only white boy wide receiver my whole 5 years.
Which is kind of sick, though.
Sick as fuck. And
I'm a fullback, so it's like to be expected.
White boys make noise. White boys make noise. That's my family's credo. But like going in and you're doing a drill that everyone else has been doing, and like we're running, it's called pat and go. You know pat and go.
Yep.
Catch the ball high and outside. I get it, and I'm catching it right here. And the coach, first rep, I catch everything. Who the fuck's this freshman? Blah, blah, blah. Get him the fuck out of here. I'm just like, bro, nobody explains to me shit. And I don't know how they treated the walk-ons, but like, when I started there, the walk-ons were very disrespected. And I think you know this, it's kind of like when you are a walk-on and become a dude and earn that Scully and get respect. Fuck the Scully. Yeah. When you get respected.
Yes, scholarship's relevant.
All you want is respect. As men, all we want is respect.
Yeah.
So once you can be like, okay, I'm the smaller guy in the room. Yeah. Maybe I'm the white boy, whatever. Yeah. But like, okay, this guy's cooking a few guys. He can hold his eye. He can kind of run block. Now it's like everyone wants, not to say be your friend, but I'm a sociable guy, and being a hometown boy, like my parents, they went 11 years straight having one of their sons play at Fresno State.
That's sick.
So they'd host Christmas, there'd be 10 guys. Thanksgiving, there'd be 50 guys. Easter, 4th of July, don't go anywhere, you're going to the Delana household. Yep. And like they'd always host. And a lot of time these guys, they won't get a home cooked meal for a long period of time. Yeah. So this dynamic just continued to grow and grow. But that first fall camp as a walk-on is very tough. And if I go to I'm going to the airport later. If I'm at the Chili's bar and I meet a guy and he tells me he played college ball, out of the gate, my respect level that's at neutral goes up a little 100%. Bit. Because I know you went through a fall camp, you must have some sort of balls, right?
Dude, yeah.
It's tough.
It's I mean, also back then, man, 2 a day. What year did you graduate?
I had 2 days.
Yeah.
2019, but I had 2 days my first 2 years.
Yes, it was like the combination of like, one, trying to learn the playbook in general. Like, so it's not only like you're worse than everyone, you're smaller, you don't know anyone. For me, culture shock, I was the only, like, I had one black guy in my high school. All of a sudden I walk into Michigan State, I'm like, whoa, like this is different. And then, just like the mental fatigue of like, and physically, like just exhausted, because then you're running scouts. You're running off on 20 kickoffs of practice. Whatever, dude. It's
yellow cap, all that shit.
Yeah, I was definitely homesick. It was a grind.
But camp, like you said, the physical side of it's tough. It's shitty on your second practice of the day, putting pads on and cleats on that are still wet.
It's the worst feeling ever.
It's the worst feeling ever. Walking back down to the field with wet pads. But
the cleats might have been worse, though.
So bad.
Blisters.
I need a fresh pair of socks. I need something. But the mental side, and they don't really talk about camp because, you got your meeting, you got meetings after that second practice.
Meetings.
And then it's like, we have a guest speaker at 9 p.m. tonight. And by day 11, I always tell people, like, my buddies and me joke that played ball, how's work right now? I'm like, it's feeling like day 11 of fall camp. It's feeling like day 11.
Dude, our running back coach would come up every day on the board, and he was cool because he would like call it out. He drew like a speedometer, right? and he'd be like, "All right, where are you at on the give a shit meter?" Like every day, everyone would put the line of like how much they give a shit, because some days you were like, it was survival.
Well, you're beat, and it's hard. But once you're through it, it is what it is. And I think there's a lot of coaches that are catching on to shit now that are like, hey, this is probably better to take care of our guys. Like, we were a very good team, one deep, maybe one in a few positions too deep, but that's Fresno State for you, right?
And I think too, there was a lot of wasted energy of just like,
oh fuck,
like, you know, you're so like mentally burned out that like you don't get much out of those practices when nobody's like dialed in. So I do not. People are like, do you miss it? I'm like, I don't miss camp. Nothing about camp. Nothing.
See, I'm opposite. I'm psycho. You mentioned the weight room earlier. I knew my edge was the weight room and conditioning. I loved having a high, really good recruited guy come in and being like, yo, why you back of the line on the gas ladder list? Or we would do winter ball like competitions and shit, tug of war, shuttle, all this shit. I'm like, hey, we're up, let's go. Come on, right now, me and you. And kind of having that like, you're not gonna make me tap. Now once, you know, we have to go into some shit, there's some people that are just, they're 6'3" and they run a 4.4 and they're fucking better than you. So what are you gonna do? But it's always about controlling the controllable. And I do believe that, you know, people say it's 80% physical, 20%, or 80% mental, 20% physical. I think it's more like 95-5.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
and the great
because you can't have one without the other. Like you,
of course,
like
you got to be good.
Even if the mental's 10, it's a 10%. That if it's not there, you're done.
You're done.
Right? It's almost like a barrier to entry.
Exactly.
Yeah. The weight room. My senior year, you know, like dudes would always go out and stuff. Usually, my senior year, our weight room culture was like so heavy that we did a weight room crawl. So like Kirk, like all the guys, instead of doing a bar crawl, we got all these protein jugs, shakes. We went to every single weight room and gym in East Lansing, like 10 different ones.
What?
And went and did a different body part at every
like
single.
24-hour fitness.
Like lunging between. Yeah, we went to the IM buildings, Powerhouse Gym, like every single gym, and we recorded it, and it was like the sickest day ever.
That's fucking awesome.
It was sick.
Through the injuries, people don't understand, like, there's two sides to an injury, okay? You fuck your quad up. That sucks.
Yeah.
I gotta do rehab, I'm out. But it's the mental side where you go in and, hey, I'm a walk on, it's my time to shine. Coaches are talking good about me. I had a good spring ball, all this. And it's like, it's very hard. You go through some, we call it our dark days. Our dark days. And like I'd have some dark days where, you know, you're climbing up the depth chart and things are looking good and coaches are talking about scholarships and you played special teams last year and it's like, this is your time to get reps, but now all of a sudden your hamstrings acting up, your quads fucked up, your knees fucked up. And you try to push and push and push, but there is a difference between being hurt and being injured. And eventually you hit a point, like being I had to rely on my speed. Like if I don't have speed, I'm nothing. I'm nothing. And like, I think learning how to cope in my injuries of I'm sidelined, I need to stay positive. I need to get my mentals right. I learned a lot about myself at ages 18 through 22 because those situations came up. We had a coaching change and the new coach came in, he cut 26 players. Scholarship, walk-on, didn't matter. So we had this season. We had our season where we went 1-11, worst ever in the program history. Coach comes in, we go through spring, and he's cutting these new players. He's cutting 26 guys. Meetings are lined up Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. My appointment is Friday night at 6 p.m. I'm the last meeting. I'm upstairs on the coach's, couch and shit like that. Guys are going in and out of the room. Everyone's coming out crying ahead of me. My meeting was at 7. I got there at 6. There were 15-minute increments. Everyone comes out crying. Cut. I'm like, fuck. I'm done. I'm done. Right? And I go, all right, this is it. This sucks. And at this point, I'm just thinking like, how am I going to sell myself? Right? What's my rebuttal going to be? I sit down. Coach Tedford, great guy. Love the man.
Where's he at now?
retired. He coached Rogers, Marshawn Lynch. He was at Cal forever. Came to Fresno State where he played football. We destroyed, and he's retired.
That's awesome.
He has some hard stuff, whatever. So I sit down. As I told you, my family's onion farmers. He goes, so Frankie, how's the family? And I'm like, they're good,
Fine.
you know? And at this point, my middle brother is getting recruited. He's way better at football than I am. And I'm like, they're good. Yeah, they're good. And he's like, so you guys farm onions, right? I'm like, yes, I've brought him onions. I always bring the coaches onions. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we fucking farm onions. Yeah. He's like, why do people plant palm trees in between their fields sometimes? That's something they do in California. All right. No idea why. I have no idea the answer to this question.
Impressive that he came with that question.
Well, on his drive to his beach house, I think he passes them a lot. So I'm like, I really don't know, coach. He sits there for about 10 seconds. He goes, we need you. He goes, we need you. He goes, I'm not going to lie. You're probably a guy we should cut. He goes, but we need you. Your culture, you're a glue guy. You're great in the locker room. All right. You have opportunities. You're a good football player. You represent our culture that we want to enable here. Keep doing what you're doing.
Dude,
you're going to stick around. Ever, right? Yeah. But I'm shitting bricks at this point. And, immediately after that, and my freshman year, I played as a freshman, and I bawled.
Yeah.
And I was promised a scholarship. The coach got canned, and coach told me, like, hey, I can't give you your scholarship. You need to show me something. Well, I ended up coming back. I had a good year, and he reimbursed me for the year that I was supposed to get scholarship. I bought my wife's wedding ring with that $12,000 fucking check. It was awesome, right? But going through those mental sides of being hurt and climbing the depth chart, and now it's not only you hurt and sideline, it's someone else is getting your reps, and let's not bullshit it. Yeah. They're taking your spot.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's hard because when you're in a position room...
They actually moved me over in front of my roommate. Yeah.
But when you're in a position room, and that shit does happen...
Yeah.
They're usually your friends.
It's hard. And it's not... Yeah, like NFL, it's like, it's a business, but in that setting, there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah. You're your boys. These are your guys, man.
Yeah.
So tell me about the mental side. Like, what got you through those injuries? What did you lean on? What did you kind of implement? What's a tool you put in your toolbox?
I never forget, like, my worst moment, like, the year I was going to play a lot, I had knee surgery 3 days before the first game. And I wanted to come to the game, right? But they didn't want me to stand up that long. And I couldn't be on the sideline during the game if I got hit.
Sure.
And so I ended up, they were like, you should go home. So I came for warm-ups, and I had to leave. And I'll never forget, like, my parents came to pick me up, but, like, I was, crutching away from the stadium as kickoff happened, and I could hear it by myself. Outside of a stadium on game day, it's just a ghost town.
Everyone's in.
And it was like a movie. I remember, like, crutching away and hearing everything, and I'm never gonna play here, it's been 3 years, and then everyone's running their mouth, and it was just so heavy, but in some sense, I don't know, man, like I just think that up until that point, going through so much and being a walk-on and kind of feeling like every single step was like proving people wrong, it was almost like there was never a thought of not continuing to press it. I don't know. I just never went to a place of like, I'm going to stop, or like, this isn't worth it. I think it's because it meant so much. Like, when you have something that you like, you'll die for. So my wife is an Olympic swimmer, and they did a study. It was like 70%, or I don't know, maybe 80% of Olympians would, if they knew they were going to die within the next 5 years, they would take a gold medal as a trade of that. So I think it's rare in life where you find something that like you're willing to do anything for, and when that happens, you will do anything. I don't think it actually, like, it's hard looking back, but like when you care about something so much, nothing really like derails you. But it was tough. And then one thing I did do, which was, it turned out to actually be like really helpful, is I like, from a culture perspective, I tried to get super involved, and so I actually asked if I could do the defensive signals. So instead of like just sitting around in practice, I ended up being like a live signal caller. I literally dressed up in full coach's gear, which I don't even know if it was legal or not. But like I was the guy doing all the defensive signals, and I learned so much about the game.
Oh my
and
God.
like just you know how everything goes. I heard some crazy stuff on the headsets from our defensive
Holy
coordinators,
shit!
There was some stuff said that I'm like, you would be canceled. You would be fired tomorrow.
Yeah.
but I loved it. It was Coach Narduzzi, who's now at Pitt, but he said he was wild. But yeah, I think like just I don't know, man. Like as hard as it was, I think having the right guys around you and like being part of the team, people pick you up without even like being aware of it. Yeah. And if you're in the right environment, you just keep pushing forward and you want to be part of it. And so I think sometimes like even post-sport, it's like trying to find something that you care about enough where when shit happens like that, it doesn't derail you. Because if you don't care that much, like if I didn't really care about playing at Michigan State, like if it wasn't my dream to play there,
right,
it would have probably been a different story.
Yeah.
Like same probably with you.
I might, like I said,
like your whole family.
That's
like,
what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
That was the goal.
Yeah. Our coach was like thinking about that. You crying in the, or not everyone crying in the meetings. Coach D'Antoni was like the most intimidating dude. Like we'd be nervous to like walk down the hall, like the first couple years, because he came in and had to like reset the culture. And then like so my sophomore year, I remember. Did you guys have red lock? Like get red locked? So we called it getting red locked if you got like suspended. They would literally put a red lock on your locker and you couldn't get your stuff and like when you were suspended. And so like I came in my third year and I had a red lock on my locker, me and my roommate. And it said, and there was a letterhead, Coach Antonio C, Coach Antonio, 12 p.m. sharp. And I was like, and first off, I'm like,
what the fuck did I do?
My roommate had the same letter, same thing. We were like, we're walking on, we do everything right, you know, like, and then you start thinking like, well, I went to that one party, or I went to the bar, you know, what did I do?
Someone take a picture.
And then someone's like, it's April Fool's Day, someone's probably messing with you. And I'm like, okay, we'll see. And then Coach Enos came in, who was like a running backs coach, and we're like, hey, is like Coach D, like, what's going on? He's like, I've known Coach D'Antonio for a long time.
He's not
he
fucking
wouldn't
around.
mess around with that. And he was like, that's his handwriting for sure. And I was like, dude, am I about to get kicked off the team right now? And so we go up to his office, and he's like, all right, guys, come in. He's like, sit down. And we're like, okay. And we were known as like the meatheads. You know, we would lift all the time. We took all the supplements. We were the strongest guys. He was like, guys, there's a lot of accusations going around campus about performance-enhancing drugs and steroids and all this stuff. So we're going to suspend you guys for spring ball. We're going to get you drug tested. I'm going to do a press conference about it. And then if everything comes back clean, you'll be good to go. And I was like,
that's fucking crazy.
Like, what? Yeah. I'm like, what, from who? He's like, people at IM West, that, you know, people, you know, like there's a lot of noise around campus and we have to do something about it. I'm like, so I'm going to call your parents, let them know what's going on. I'm like, so my roommate kind of starts freaking out, like, and not like kind of like nervous. Yeah. I kind of started to get like, I'm like, you're going to call our parents for getting accused of like
steroids?
I'm like, what are you talking about? People just say stuff and you have to like, and he's like, I'm going to call your parents and let them know what's going on. Like super stern. And I was like, oh my gosh. So he gets up and walks behind. Now later, he tells me that he was trying to stop laughing because our senior fullback had set this whole thing up. Like all the coaches knew about it. And so he comes back and he's like, I have nothing else to say. We'll get the drug test up this week and we'll see you, you know, in a couple weeks. And so we leave and we're like, oh my gosh, dude, this is like what do we do? And so my roommate calls his dad. And his dad's like, go back, I want to talk to, you know, Coach Antonio. And we walk in and all the coaching staff is like cracking up. And I was like, you guys suck.
That is fucked up.
It was the worst day. Like those 10 minutes were like, I couldn't, my heart was probably 200.
Yeah.
And yeah, he set the whole thing up and like, he's the last coach who would ever play Joe Bundy. So it was just like out of left field.
Fuck.
Yeah. So that was my April Fool's. So I text him every April Fool's about it.
I thought he was going to say he was going to give you a scholarship.
No, that was the next year.
How'd the scholarship happen?
Pretty low key.
Yeah.
But that was like, you know, starting on our some packages, and then they just called me in like 2 days before our first game. And
hey, putting you
and
on.
It was kind of before like social media, so
you couldn't
there wasn't like a
glory to God.
There wasn't like a big like I feel like now people record it and they try to make it like fun, and it wasn't really. He's just like it's game week. Like we're not gonna mess around with that stuff. But he did some crazy. He would do like some fun motivational stuff. I mean, the craziest story. It never really got out, and I don't know how. But my senior year, we played Georgia in the Capital One Bowl, and the whole week he was playing the Muhammad Ali speech. It's like, I wrestle an alligator, I tussle a whale, right? Like over and over. He used to do like funny, like motivational stuff, kind of. And the whole way we're playing this thing. And luckily we had a couple injuries, so it was our last practice ever. Actually, my last college practice ever. And so no media was allowed in because of the injuries. Thank God. And so he plays the speech one more time, and we all bring it together at the end of practice. And he was like, "What's that?" And we look over in the field next to us. There's like a 12-foot alligator in the field next to us.
A real alligator?
A real alligator. We're in Tampa, Florida. Now, this is set up.
Yeah, Steve Irwin's out there.
Yeah, I wish. No, that was after RIP. It was after that. But so this guy takes off at the field with a helmet on, shoulder pads. It was a guy they hired. Take off, and we all kind of chase after him. And we kind of catch on like, oh, this guy's not on our team. He's going to go grab this alligator. Gets up to the alligator, grabs its tail, like whips its tail, slips. Alligator turns around, smashes his knee. Clank, like bang, on his knee. The dude's knee is in the alligator's mouth. We're all around.
This is not scripted.
No, this was not supposed to happen. Like blood's running down this guy's leg. The other guy that came with him like jumps on, puts these like things around his teeth, and is trying to like pry open the mouth, and it was stuck there for like 5 minutes.
You're all just watching.
Had to be calm, because if the thing starts rolling, it's going to rip his leg off. So we're all like standing there. Nobody knows what to do. Like everyone's like kind of panicked, but just watching. And we had to just literally 5 full minutes, and eventually the thing let go. So he gets up, blood's running down his leg, right? And he's like, oh, I'm good, whatever. So we go in the locker room. And
Holy shit!
This is crazy. This guy's like, we have 6 docs on staff. They're like, do you want us to like stitch you up or whatever? Because like there's huge gashes. He's like, he literally word for word was like, I fight MMA. This is no big deal. He's like, just give me some bleach and a Q-tip, or like disinfectant spray. So he takes it, dips it in this disinfectant, and he like goes to clean it out, and it like literally like goes like into his knee. Yeah. Passes out, smacks his head on the ground. Full ambulance had to come, go to the hospital, like, and no news story ever picked it up.
Your coach put the alligator out there as a prank, though?
He hired an alligator wrestler.
And it went wrong.
And the alligator wrestler said he'd never done it on dirt before, and so he slipped. And he said it's never happened before, and yeah, he almost got eaten.
That's fucking, it was in front of the Michigan State football team.
The whole, it was after practice, and it was, if the media would have been there, like, it would have been insanity.
That's fucking
there's
crazy.
There's one video of it. Yeah.
Holy shit, man.
It was nuts. But I don't know, like, it didn't seem like as big a deal at the time, but after talking to Coach C after, he was like pooping his pants, because he was like, if this guy like dies, what are we gonna do? You know, like, we don't.
It's just a bad look. It's a bad look.
It was bad. But, so we gave him like sideline pass.
Fuck, you're like Chubbs from Happy Gilmore all of a sudden.
It was bad.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about your transition from defense to offense? Because I don't mean disrespect, but like usually it's like, hey, you're not getting the job done on defense. Yeah. Why don't we put you here? We think you could be of value. Like, how did you take it?
I mean, I thought Coach D, he called me in and he was like, well, one, like I'm playing D end of the Big Ten.
Can I get the glasses?
Yeah, I'm playing Big Ten. That's the good stuff. And I'm 6'3", 245, like not the ideal Big Ten D end. We're bringing in 5-star recruits that are 290 pounds. And so he was like, he brought me in, he's like, we want to have the best 11 guys on the field at all times. You're one of those 22 guys, and I just feel like this is a better spot. And so it wasn't a negative thing. I also, like, as soon as I started playing fullback, I was like, I should have been here the whole time.
Yeah. Well, it's own your role.
Yeah, for sure. But I was just not, the end is a different beast. and being undersized is tough. I wasn't like crazy fast, and
it's Big Ten. Like there's elements.
Yeah, and then fullback, dude, I just loved trying to kill people. Like it was the best of just like going into a game, just knowing like you're just going in to be a missile.
Impose my will.
Dude. And I was a moose. I was like 270. I was huge. Yeah.
270 playing fullback.
I was like, by the time my senior year came around, I got myself so strong. I hit like 315 for like 18 reps on bench.
Just like, fuck this shit.
In my head, I was like, I'm stronger than everyone else out here, so I'm just going to like take heads off. And I was a psychopath. Like I was pretty calm and chill at the end, and like, dude, fullback, I don't know, man. I was like a demon. Like as soon as, it was.
You flipped the switch.
Yeah, and I didn't even know, it was to a level I didn't know existed before I played fullback, but I was a psychopath, dude. Like in the regular day life, it takes a lot to make me mad, but I was a psycho.
Were you like neck roll?
I should have. Looking back, like
should have
situation.
Cowboy Carl.
I should have went like vertical, like a middle bar.
Bar down the middle.
That's sick. Yeah, but no, I was pretty standard. But I was big.
What number did you rock?
42. Yeah.
Just fuck you.
And we were in like power I, like downhill power, kick out the D end. Le'Veon was a running back, which made things a lot easier also. And yeah, we were just kind of like, they kind of knew we were going to run. We're just going to try to smash your face.
And this is where it's going.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was old. I mean, I was probably the last generation of like old school fullbacks,
Yeah.
Like even when I was there, the people didn't really run that offense.
Who was a fullback, like when you made that move, like, there's not a lot of fullbacks.
Yeah. I was a big Corey Schlesinger fan back in the day.
Yeah. Lorenzo Neal's a Fresno State guy.
Lorenzo Neal.
Yeah.
Savage. People always bring up Mike Allstott, but I'm like, that dude, he was a tailback. I didn't carry the ball. I carried the ball like 6 times.
Yeah. Goal line.
This sucked, dude. Like my senior year, I convinced our coach to open the season with the fullback dive. We never even had in our playbook. And the first 3 times we ran it, first one was a fumble snap. Second one, Kirk turned the wrong way. And then something happened on the third one, threw it out. And I was like,
that's dead.
Moment, dude.
That's dead.
We didn't have a fullback dive in the rest of the season.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I got a touchdown on pass. It was
sick.
You got to get your glory where you can. Yeah. It's tough, dude. I was pretty much a guard, to be honest.
Downhill.
Yeah, there was no finesse.
Fuck it.
Yeah. I was good at it.
You mentioned Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Big Kirko.
Oh, he's the best.
Tell me about him as a teammate, as a guy, all that.
I always say this, and like I've been around some pretty incredible people, leaders, business leaders, sports, and to this day I think he's the best leader I've ever been around. Because like when I think about a leader, I think about relating your teammates, caring about your teammates, doing whatever it takes, and that guy was like, at the time, I didn't even like recognize how impactful he was, but he would walk in the locker room, hey, did your sister get into medical school? How's your test? Remembered everything about everybody, would do anything for anybody. And it's funny because he's like, he was like a nerdy dude, and like, but he fit in with the guys, and it's, I don't know, he's a one of one. But I think what people don't get about him is like, if you watch like the documentaries, he's the nicest dude ever. But don't confuse that for not being a savage competitor. Like he's a savage, and there's a reason why he's done as well as he has. And I think that sometimes people don't realize like the lengths. Like he'll do anything to win, and I don't know if people realize that. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
We were texting. I said I did watch the documentary, and if anybody who watched it. How do you walk away from that and not be like, I fucking love Kirk Cousins?
I'm pumped they did that, though, because I think until that point, I don't know if people, one, they could have, like, seen that side of him, but you'd have to be pretty intentional. But I think it really allowed people to get to know who he was.
Yeah.
And I think he, like, gained a lot more fans that he should have had the whole time.
I agree.
And he's a fun dude. He has horrible fashion sense, but other than that, like,
he's a Coles guy.
The best. Yeah.
What's wrong with Coles?
It's exponentially better than it used to be, though.
Really?
Oh, dude, it was
bad.
Like tucked in, like short sleeve button up shirts and stuff. And
I mean, I don't know who the fuck I am. My wife thinks I have no fashion. I was hammered after the USA Canada hockey game in the Four Nations event. Bought this off
It's
Amazon.
kind of a sick shirt, though.
It's kind of fucking hard.
Yeah, no, like her. Yeah, that wouldn't have been.
My mom and dad, when my brother signed with the Chiefs, got us all these matching swisher pants.
Are those team issued or did you guys buy those?
No, it's just my mom bought these.
Those are cool though.
I do have a team issued Chiefs turtleneck though. My brother got me that.
Okay.
That's all I wanted.
Did your college equipment guys, like, were they like stingy or were they pretty cool?
So I went through a few different staffs. First one was stingy as fuck. Like
we couldn't even get like socks sometimes.
we could get socks. Socks was automatic.
It was like
gloves.
they would
Gloves.
give it to
They'd be like, "I gave you some 4 days ago," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, but we just played in a game. What the fuck? Like, I can't fuck some shit up." By the end of it, though, they were like,
Yeah.
I used to. There was a point where in Slade, I know you're listening to this white boy swag right now, but I used to rock the high white socks every once in a while, and sometimes like you needed 2 socks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'd cut one, so I wouldn't have to wear like an extra size cleat necessarily. So I'd cut like one right here,
Okay.
and it would just be like a sleeve almost, like a
Yeah.
white arm sleeve on my leg
Yep.
as a sock. And
The NFL, that's like part of the uniform. They had like those sleeves.
yeah, no. Well, Mac, he just did his photo shoot, my brother, with like the Chiefs, and they have
it's like
their
the
iconic
thing.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, again, I don't. They were cool to us at the end, and then of course, like I think about the old Nike days where when the first time somebody had the logo on the
We
gloves.
had that. We were the first. We were part of the first. What were they called? Pro Combat series.
Dude,
And we had-
you were. I remember that. Michigan
And they
State
were
was hard.
sick, dude. We had like the gold.
It was what? It was Bama, Michigan State,
Yeah.
probably.
I mean, when they dropped us, we were so.
Yeah, LSU.
We were. It was weird because we were bad when I first got there, so we didn't have anything. And then by the end, we were playing some Big Ten championship games, and it was like the drastic contrast, and we didn't know what to do.
What was your senior year?
2011. So we lost on the last play of the game, the Big Ten championship game, to Wisconsin.
Well,
Russell Wilson. But then the year before we won the Big Ten, so like we were cooking.
When you were on the team with the punt,
No, but that was the best day ever.
that was fucking sick as fuck.
I still think that is like statistically the craziest play in college football.
Todd, I remember watching it live with my mom on a Saturday. I finished high school football, which, you know, when you're done high school football, you do your little bullshit lift, maybe a little film if you're advanced, and then you go home and if you played, you go home and you fucking chill because you're assed out from the night before. My boys who sometimes didn't play, they're like partying and shit. I'm laying on my parents' couch. My mom's sitting there with me. And she's like, "Is this over?" And I said, "Well, there's one thing that could happen." I said, "As long as Michigan doesn't fuck this punt up."
We had no.
And I'm saying this.
We rushed 11.
I'm saying this as it happens, and I'm like, "Holy fuck!"
He could have punted it 5 yards.
Do you realize how insane this is?
I still don't think people fully wrapped their heads.
Was it at
around
Michigan State?
No, it was in Michigan, which was kind of even better because it was just.
Yeah, but it would have been burn the city down.
But the city still burned down. We're notorious for like burning couches and stuff.
You guys burn couches?
Yeah, it's
It's our thing.
Like we did it, like when we won the national championship in basketball back in the 90s, like it became like a staple.
When's the last time you burned a couch?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I try to avoid being like directly incriminated by things like that. So, but I've been around it. I've been a witness.
I've burnt a few couches.
Yeah.
Throw a propane tank in it.
We
put
could do it.
Put an AR at it.
We could get
I'll burn a couch tonight.
we could probably.
I would love nothing more than in my 18 hours in Nashville to burn a fucking couch. I'd burn a house.
I feel pressure. I feel pressure to make this happen. Man.
I apply pressure. I love that shit.
And also just, I hate Michigan. Like I couldn't hate a school more. So like that just added a layer.
My brother, Fresno State opened at Michigan this year.
Yeah.
Hot take, not impressed.
It's the most overrated stadium ever.
Not that great.
First off,
Not that loud, not that great.
You roll up to it, it's built in the ground. So it's like 20 feet high. And then it's bowled out, so all the sound goes up. It's super underwhelming. Penn State blows it out of the water.
My first game ever was against Nebraska.
Love Nebraska.
Nebraska's fucking sick.
Sick.
Bama's
Nicest
pretty good.
fans ever.
Bama's pretty good. Washington,
Really?
when I played Washington when they were 3 in the country, Washington fucking rocks.
I don't know, dude. Penn State whiteout game, I don't know if anything.
No. I've interviewed a lot of Penn State dudes. I've interviewed a lot of Michigan. I've interviewed a lot of Big Ten dudes, and they've all said, yo, Penn State whiteouts.
I like Penn State. I mean, I like everyone. Like, it's funny, like with Ohio State, you know, we have like we have a bond because we both hate Michigan.
Yeah.
But like Michigan people be like, well, but we both hate Ohio State. I'm like, no, dude. Everyone hates you guys.
Yeah.
We don't understand.
You're the problem.
Yeah. Like, it's like, what are you talking about, man? So, yeah, they were the worst.
So when ball was coming to an end, where did your mentals go? Where was your like, okay, I got to start getting into this. I want to go to that. Because clearly you're a successful person. And we'll get into your business ventures and whatnot. But
it's debatable.
Yeah. But hey, right? It's opinion based. But like, how do you? I feel like you did a very good job of transitioning life after ball, which not a lot of guys do. A lot of guys are playing video games on their girlfriend's couch. A lot of guys are ended up working at McDonald's. Nothing wrong with that. But like, when you said like, okay, ball's kind of going down, what was your mentality on what you wanted to do?
Well, I mean, I was always obsessed with like performance and human performance and in the weight room. But I think, I was obsessed with it because like I had to be to play, being a walk-on. And so, I was always super interested in that. So it was, I thought I wanted to be a college strength conditioning coach because I was like, my college strength conditioning coach changed my life. I think they had a bigger impact than anyone else.
Nobody tells you before you go to college how much. Fuck the OC, fuck the position coach.
Based on the strength coach.
If I had one piece of advice for young cats, meet the strength conditioning coach.
It'll change your entire trajectory if you have a great strength.
1,000,000%.
And so I thought I wanted to do that. But, honestly, what helped me the most is, so I've been married for, 10 years coming up on. And so
congratulations.
My wife is a 2-time Olympian in swimming. And
So you're the shitty athlete in the family.
100%, I'm much less athletic. And so she was coming back for swimming, going through a lot of stuff. And honestly, I think it kind of like forced me to just put my head down and figure it out, because it was more like I was like helping her, making sure she was okay. Like what she was going through was way heavier than me. She was the best swimmer in the world.
Mentals.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, you think things are hard, but then it's like, imagine being, on the Today Show, and then people are, there's a lot of, it's just a different.
I've been around the Olympic shit. It's, we can get into it. It's crazy.
Yeah. And she was, when you're the best in the world of something, like, your highs are high, your lows are low. And so in a sense, I kind of just had to figure it out. I think that helped a lot. But then, my parents, like I said, are teachers. And so I was always brought up of like, if you're helping people and making the world a better place, like, doesn't matter how much money you make. That was kind of like the way I was brought up. And so in the wellness, strength conditioning space, that was the easy transition. And so I started training people. I worked with a lot of athletes and stuff. And then alongside that, I got to be around a lot of really successful, like extremely successful people. And I think that also helped a lot. I think as an athlete, you get out of that and you're like, oh, what do I have to offer the world outside of that? But then I think when you get in rooms with people who have big titles and they're super successful and they've done big things, the more you're around that, you start to realize, there's nothing special. Like
they're normal fucking dudes.
But I think you have to expose yourself to that. Like you have to get around that as much as you can, and you start having confidence and faith in yourself, and you believe you can do whatever you want to do. Same with football. It's like, when you're in high school and you're looking on TV and you see these guys, they're unreal. Like they're
untouchable.
Like,
then you go run a 1-on-1, you're like,
right. And
this
the more
man bleeds like
that, you're like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah,
I think it's no different with anything in life. It's like, but you got to get yourself around those people just to prove to yourself you can do it.
Did you, and again, you have created now a brand.
Yeah.
Okay. You got the shirt on. You're a dream recovery guy.
Yep.
It's one thing, and listen, I'll preface this question with bring the juice. I got blood clots trying to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Tore my calf. Shitty. Grew up on an onion farm. I knew writing my papers growing up, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, I want to play football at Fresno State, and then I want to farm onions. That was my journey. I was a very fucking simple person. I didn't realize how big of a deal it was to try to play D1 ball was at that time. And I didn't realize what the onion business could be at a certain element, right? But that was my thing. When you're 22 years old and you know you're not going to the NFL, and a teacher convinces you to try out for the Olympics and shit kind of works out, it's like, okay, we got to ride this wave.
Yeah.
But all that to be said, like, it's very hard to start a business, to take that leap. I drive an hour to work and an hour home every day. I talk to guys on the phone in those drives, and a lot of the times it's, hey, I want to start a pod, I want to start a small business, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's your advice? And I'm like, first of all, I'm fucking 28. I don't know shit.
Yeah.
But I keep throwing shit at the wall, and something sticks every once in a while. But like, Bring the Juice didn't just start one day. Like, it wasn't this notebook, but I'm a big notebook guy. And I had a lot of notes. I did a lot of research. I was like, and at the time I Googled how to make passive income. The number one thing that Google popped up with in 2020 was write a book. Write a book, have it be successful, sell 1 million copies, be fucking rich as shit. Yeah. Number 2 was start a podcast.
Yeah.
And at this point, being, in my area, like an overachiever athletically, I was going on podcasts and they were shit. I tell my story and it was great, but they were reading off laptops. Yeah. They had no production. It looks like it was shot off an iPhone 4. I was like, I could bury these motherfuckers. And at the same time, I was at the point in life where I was like, okay, trying to take that same mindset that got me successful in athletics and applying it to being successful in business, as a family man, in my community, all these different ventures, I definitely need people around me to feed me their positive vibes.
Yeah.
So looking at my, friend group, I was like, I have a lot of friends who to me are just funny pieces of shit who I would go drink at Applebee's with.
Yeah.
Oh, to the outside world, he's on the Atlanta Falcons. He's on the Arizona Cardinals. He's on the fucking Oakland Raiders.
Yep.
So everyone else thinks these guys are big time. To me, they're just my friends.
Yeah.
Right? But I know their journey. I know their story. So I was like, what if I could tell their story a little bit and do this to where I could be the bridge between their problems, their adversity, their life struggles, and how they overcome it, and make it correlated, if you will, to the average soccer mom, accountant, small business owner, restaurant manager, whatever the fuck it is. And that's when I was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do on Bring the Juice. I wanna have raw conversations. My family grows up, we're not alcoholics by any means, but we like to have a couple cocktails. Let's have a couple. Hey, can we get the bottle? Can we get a couple cocktails?
Throwing that out there.
So and it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. I lived in Utah for 2 years. I've been around plenty of older folks. But I'm like, I want this to feel like a conversation, not an interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously, I have my bullet points. I want to make sure. I flew to fucking Nashville. I want to make sure that we cover everything to make this a bitchin' ass episode, right? Yeah. But at the same time, I know how much it took for me to do Bring the Juice and level it up. Mm-hmm. When you started all your business ventures, let's talk Dream Recovery.
Yeah.
What did it start on a notebook? Did it start with a late night talk with your wife? And then at what point did you put it into motion and say, hey, we need to get some testing done on tape for no strips. Yeah. We need to look into pillowcases. Hey, my fucking mask hurts my ears. I need a better one. Yeah. How'd you evolve that?
It actually stemmed from, like I said, there's nothing better than increasing someone's quality of life. It's the most fulfilling thing ever. Yeah, you gotta.
Sorry, I was getting a little cussed as well.
Yeah, mine's a little gross too. But
do you like the Bellini?
I do like it. Yeah.
How bad?
I'll do. I'm now strapped up over here too. You want that? Okay. Okay. Always.
You good, Slade? Can I get a little ice?
You're right. Is it?
Get a rice bowl. Get a rice bowl.
Wait, what was he about? Direct. You go.
A little ice. That's all I need.
I'm good.
You got a host later.
Be a host.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. How did you put the wheels on the truck and say, let's drive this bitch?
So I think with business, I'm not a super money
hungry guy,
motivated guy. Obviously I like money to.
If you don't make money, it don't make sense.
Yeah, I like to do stuff. I love having control of my schedule and time. So they go hand in hand, but it all stemmed from literally I love helping people and when someone comes back and tells you their life changed and they're a better personality, whatever. And so I dove into the sleep world like 7 years ago because at the time no one was talking about it. Then I realized if I could change someone's sleep, like it's unreal, like how their life changes. And so that was like, from a purpose perspective, it was so fulfilling. And so I dove into that, started doing speaking with teams and football teams, more businesses and all these different people. And it was like the feedback was crazy, and people, they literally changed their life. And so it came from it was almost like it was like me personally, it was stuff that I wanted to use, and two, I get asked all the time for recommendations, and the opportunity came about, and I think it's similar to being a walk-on. It's like my favorite quote is fear isn't a mile wide and an inch deep, and like it's
a fucking bar.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Did Lil Wayne say that?
No, that's Alex Ramosi. I mean, I heard him say it, but it's so true though. It's like it looks so scary. It's just like walking on. But as fullbacks, we used to say you have to put your face in the fan. Like when you run powers, put your face in the fan. Be like, this is gonna suck, and this is gonna hurt, but you just gotta throw your face in the fan and throw it in there. And so I think business is no different, but things look a lot scarier, right? Like when you assess a situation, you're like, you can think of every single situation or every single circumstance of why it's gonna fail or be hard or suck. But once you take that first step, you realize it's not that bad. You're going to figure out as you go, and nobody knows what they're doing.
Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing.
So I think honestly, it's like starting is 99% of it. And then the other piece is like you're talking about just content, and I get in this argument all the time just with social media and stuff, and it's like nobody's ever going to know who you are until you put yourself out there, and if you don't try, and if you're a good person, if you're a good dude doing the right stuff. And you're not doing anything negative. Like if you're doing all good stuff, helping the world, helping people, trying to do good stuff, bring positivity, all it does is amplify your voice. And it's crazy how nervous people are to put themselves out there, but it's not easy on the flip side. Like I think even subconsciously you're talking about like, oh, bring the juice and this, and all my friends, that they're just my boys, but like that group you're around subconsciously, that's a lot of confident, driven, positive people.
Of course.
And so you don't even realize the impact that is probably having on you, where you're able to take that first step. Some people, it's hard, man. Like they're sitting with a bunch of, their friend group might be completely different, not doing the best stuff, and then for them, they might be trying to do something, and that seems like so out of reach.
Yeah.
Like that's hard.
I've had both sides of it. So like when I started this, everyone's like, oh, Frankie. And honestly, when I was in college, I barely posted on IG. I barely tweeted. Like, I was always.
There's such a miss for guys right now that aren't doing it. It's like
fuck NIL. They could money
they could
ahead.
walk out of college and have a six-figure business just from social media. If they could post their protein shakes and people care.
There's a few guys that are.
Yeah, but they're gonna crush.
I was always I don't want to post something, and my coach see it and be like, you're worried about the wrong things. Yeah. I didn't want to be a distraction.
Well, and that was a little
different era.
Now I think I
was pre-NIL. Yeah, now it's different. But like even my brother, who was in the NIL area and like was wide receiver one, like he didn't want to be that guy necessarily. And I get that. And I've interviewed guys from Florida that are third round draft picks, and they don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. I get that.
But and
NFL guys I've talked to that are like nervous to do.
They don't want to be that guy. And like when I started to bring the juice, I was like, I'm really making myself vulnerable.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm telling my story.
That's a hard step, dude.
And I was like, you know what though, man? Like, I'm very confident in my skin. I know who I am. I never once have put on the pod, I'm the MVP of my team. I never once said I went to the NFL. Even this, doing my skeleton shit, I constantly get told like, oh, you're the Olympian. I said, I did not go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
I raced for Team USA, but I did not go to the fucking Olympics. And as your wife can attest, like, there's a lot of really good athletes that do World Cup tour, North America tour, do all these different races, and they're racing against countries, and they got Team USA on their chest, but they don't become Olympians. Because as skeleton, there was 30 guys, one of them went to the Olympics. I did not go to the fucking Olympics. So being comfortable in your own skin, but like, now that I went through the basement stage and went through this stage and did the $50 a week sponsorship, and now it's turned into this sponsorship, and now it's turned into this, and now it's like, hey, we're now looking back at the 2020 in Google. I didn't write the fucking book. I might one day. Might write a few. I got a gall of ideas.
Will you regret not doing it?
Writing a book? I didn't have enough to talk about.
But will you regret not doing it when you're 70 years old?
Oh, I'll write one before I'm 40.
You better do it, yeah.
I just needed to be more interesting. But I love the pod, and I love being able, like, I think if I didn't start the pod, the amount of places and rooms that I got to travel and interview people that I never thought I'd get to meet. And it's like, hey, oh yeah, I've seen your shit. Oh yeah, I like that. Oh yeah, I saw your hat. That's so-and-so's doing it. It's like, that's sick, but how can you continue to expand it? And me, all I want to do, and I tell anybody I come on, I'm like, I'm here to be a positive outlet. I'm not a clickbait bullshit. I'm not anything. Like, I want you to walk away and be like, I fucking love Frank. I'm trying to be as genuine as I can because that's just naturally the way I am. But like, going back to taking that leap, like I got a buddy right now, he comes from a big Texas high school, okay? His quarterback in high school was Baker Mayfield. He played at Fresno State, was a freshman All-American. Dog, great college football player. Didn't sniff the league, trying to find his way. He's tried coaching, doing this shit, had a baby. Our babies are 2 months apart. His baby's name is actually Jackson. My baby's name is Bo. They're Bo Jackson. It's kind of fucking sick. He's one of my best friends. And I am just like, he wants to start a wedding, graduation, mobile bar business. It's a thing in our area that could use a good one, right? Yeah. And I'm like,
do it.
Every time I throw an event, you're hired.
Yeah.
You want me to repost something? Done. You want me to text this person? Done. Like, how can I be an asset in people's lives now? Like, I want to do. And my advice to people who want to start pods and all that, for pods, it's different. For pods, it's like, if you could be consistent and find some sort of a little bit of a niche, and everyone says like you need to only talk about this. I'm like, fuck that, bro. Life is life. Yeah. Football is football. But football and life go hand in hand. Yeah. Right? I'll talk to a skateboarder, I'll talk to a snowboarder, I'll talk to I don't give a fuck. Everyone has their journey, and even though you're worried about running and hitting the A gap, well, you know what? A women's soccer player might be worried about not letting a certain winger get past them. Like, everyone's got their perspective. Slade, shut the fuck up, bro.
We had a dude in college, the best player that never, ever amounted to anything, and he could not get over the fact of calling the A-gap the A-hole. Like, he couldn't mentally do it. So every time he called it the A-hole.
Good.
Yeah, but it was a little confusing at times.
I get that.
Yeah, he was 6'7", 300 pounds. You couldn't tell him that he couldn't do it, but
hey, buddy.
It was a good laugh every time.
Hey, buddy.
So you know what would be the sickest? You could take this to Fresno State, actually. I think what would as a recruiting tool. Like right now, I feel like everyone's scrambling to a little bit. Like, how do we separate ourselves? And they're doing the most gimmicky, weird stuff, you know? If you had a 10-person media editing content team on a football staff, every practice they walk off, every player has a 30-second reel edit, bang, 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 for that day. There's uploaded immediately, and you had a content machine, and you could be like, every player is going to walk out of here with 100,000 followers, making 200 grand brand deals. Like, that would be a massive recruiting. And you had a podcast studio that they would edit, and like, nobody's doing that.
I did an NIL deal with Fresno State where I had a lot,
like you
60
you sponsor guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first of all, Fresno State, every single player was wearing a Bring the Juice headband, which is, I don't know anybody else that was wearing a non-branded thing.
In a game?
In a game.
Is that even like?
I don't know.
That's sick.
But when your family is a little mafia, you can kind of pull shit off like that.
Yeah.
And
that's a sick marketing tool.
I was like, fuck yeah. But I had them on. I did a calendar shoot where I basically had the whole team in Bring the Juice hats with their jerseys. And it was like the D line was January, the wide receivers were February, et cetera, et cetera. I paid them each like a couple $100, gave them a bunch of hats, made them collab with me on socials. And then what I did is I said, I'm gonna release like 80 episodes in 2 weeks. I'm gonna give you 90 seconds. Sell me as to who you are.
Yeah.
And a couple of them hit, and like they weren't starters, but they have great fucking personalities. And it's like, dude, go get that brand deal. Like, I was trying to throw these boys a lob in the local market. And that's me doing my one part. That's me doing what I can do for these guys. But I do believe that there's a lot of opportunity. And like you said, all that shit, and NIL is its own thing, but like the biggest thing when you want to do something is starting it.
Let's go.
The amount of people, and I'm sure you're the same way, Todd, like the amount of people that want to do something, dude, I'd love to fucking open a food truck. Dude, I'd love to do this shit. And it's like,
You'll figure it out too.
I'm like, bro, just fucking do it. It's $7,000 to buy one. Like, do this, do that. I'll help. I'll promote it. Whatever. Like, just go. Just go.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to. Just go. But the hardest part is starting.
The money thing, I think people use as such an excuse, but you always figure it out. When we first started, we actually did this sick marketing thing. Actually, I don't know if I've ever talked about this. I don't know if actually people know this at all. But I don't know if you guys even know the story. But so the Sphere just opened. In Dream, we just started, and we're writing checks every month because we're losing money. It's just how it goes in the beginning. And it was $300,000 to do a Sphere ad, right?
In Vegas.
Yeah, like the big thing.
I know
when
this
it first launched, it was like crazy, and it had that big smiley face on it.
Of course, right? The golf course and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were like, we can probably come up with $300,000. Let's do the Sphere. We'll blow it out of the water. And then we were like, but what are we going to get out of this? And it was like, well, really, we just need the perception that we were on the Sphere. So we literally hired the best motion graphic guy we could find, paid $5,000 for a video from a helicopter. So we got a helicopter video of the Sphere, and he took the smiley face and edited it to have mouth tape on for our Black Friday sale. So I went on YouTube and found 4K family videos. And I put them on my story and put them on a video, like me going to Nashville Airport, landing in Vegas, checking into Caesar's Palace, going to the helicopter place, every single step of the way. And then this video of us being on the Sphere. And then everyone thought we blew it up. We made fake news kind of graphics of mouth tape company rents out the Sphere, and we had paid $50 for all these random accounts to blast them out. And we made 10 times the sales that we had.
Dude, people hype.
But it was, so we got all the benefits of actually paying $300,000 on the Sphere for $5,000. But the worst part was, and I didn't think this part through, but my goal was how do we do this and pull it off? But then all my friends were like, congrats, this is sick. And I was like, oh, now I kind of feel bad.
I'm a fraud.
It was kind of like a fun, it was
it wasn't a meme. Yeah. No, I get it.
Then I was like, oh, this would be a pretty big deal. And then people started being like, oh, asked me about it. And I was like, thanks, I eventually told most of my good friends, but for a minute I had to kind of let it ride because I didn't want to seem, but it ended up creating a huge buzz, and it was a big moment. It was 6 months in, and it kind of was a sick launching pad. So
I fucking love that.
I'll send you the video. It looks, you would never, and this was also 2022, 2023. It was before AI was good, so nobody knew. Nobody knew it was not real.
Yeah.
So it was a fun day for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about, so you started, I know you've done pods and shit in the past, but you have your pod now that you host in the sauna.
Yeah.
And I fucking love it. Because I think this whole thing, and eventually I want to come and be on it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, if you want me.
Yeah. Jay's a producer, you talk to him.
I'll get you some onions.
That's a good.
Hey.
Yeah.
I could sell fucking water to the ocean, okay? But were you I need to be different? I have to do something that's separate? Yeah.
Well, so I love
I know you're a big sauna guy.
Big sauna guy. And so Jesse Itzler, who I'm good friends with, we spent a lot of time in there. We always talked about how, and it's true, the sauna opens people up. It's similar to having a drink, neurochemically. And so we always have these great conversations in the sauna. No one has their phone. And so that's kind of where it stemmed from, just organically. I invite people over to sauna in their house all the time. If I meet anyone new or even some business stuff, I'll be like, hey, come sauna. When I first met Jada, I was like, hey, you want to go sauna? Yeah. And so,
see, I'm you want to go get cocktails, so I get it.
Yeah, so
I get
that's kind of the same version. And so, and then I, with hot ones, and I just love when you go through adversity and kind of I think it's fun to see people,
squirm a little bit.
Yeah, when you see someone you look up to, an athlete or something in an environment like that, having to grind it out, it's fun.
Well, eventually you're gonna tap.
Yeah, for sure. And so, and I'm good at the sauna also, so
you kind of got the lid.
If I wasn't good, it'd be a mess because I'd be tapping out before the guest. Sometimes. So, it's just something fun, different. I didn't want to start something that was, because I do a lot of content on sleep, and I was I could easily start a podcast but I'm not going to look forward to that. It's not something that I'm excited about.
Right.
And so it took a while, but I'll tell you what, man, shooting a podcast in the sauna. I want to talk about a logistical challenge.
I was gonna ask, man.
It's a mess. It was a mess for a while. Like, I mean, nothing worked. For the first 7 episodes, something went wrong every single time.
Yeah.
And
Microphones heating up and shit.
the microphones were actually like kind of one of the better parts, but you know, with the cameras, you got to shoot through the glass because cameras in general overheat.
Nice,
you know, like in general, and so it's like
No, fuck, absolutely.
it's
In
like-
Fresno, shit, he's like, we can't shoot outside.
some cameras, like I know there's FX3s, but like some cameras will overheat just shooting for like 20 minutes in a normal room.
We shoot like golf content, and you need the GoPro to be getting like
Oh,
the.
you do golf stuff?
Oh,
I gotta
bro.
come hit some balls. I can.
I don't know if you want to come on Juice Golfs.
I can hit it far. I did legitimate long drive competitions for like a couple of years.
You ever been tased?
No, but I'm willing.
Yeah.
To get
So
tased.
Juice Golf incorporates like Zins, booze, and a taser.
2 for 3.
That's what I'm saying. You're almost there. Did I bring the taser? Nah, I didn't bring the taser.
All right. Well, let's not do it today.
Yeah. But no, like
What happens?
just GoPros like in Fresno, if it's 100 outside, you golf 9 holes. Like you have to go through.
Where's the taser come into play?
So like we do different challenges. Like,
Like
we,
if you don't do, you get tased.
like if we, so let's say we want to go play 9 holes. We've learned that 9-hole challenges get better YouTube views than 18s.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we'll be like, okay, let's go out. Let's shoot let's say par's 36. Like we got to go shoot a 32
Together. Okay.
And if we don't, we
tased.
get tased in the neck.
That's kind of. I love doing stuff that's like there's a punishment.
Yeah.
Like because everyone's like
Yeah.
so competitive.
We just did
Do you do it against each other though, or like the
We've done
worst
both.
person?
We've done both. So Juice Golf, like we do all different variations of it. Sometimes we're on the same team. Sometimes we're against each other. Sometimes like you get a pop, I get a pop, like whatever it might be, depending on the skill level.
Who's your like when you look at podcast? Well, I guess 2 questions. Like who's like your inspiration in the podcast?
Podcast, I told you, Will Compton. Probably Will Compton.
Yeah.
Easy. I am
How about
athlete.
golf?
Bob does sports. My brother.
So funny, dude.
When my brother, his senior year, he was kind of in cruise control. Like the game was slowing down for him. He didn't really have to go to school, and then training for the combine, going into the Chiefs minicamp. He's been big on it. And then me and my brothers, when I finished the Olympic journey, like we all started golfing 3 years ago.
Didn't golf before.
Never golfed before. We shared one bag from Dick's Sporting Goods, Top Flight. Like never took a lesson in our lives. Like my brother's probably an 85 shooter. Like he's an 85, 86 guy. Like I go out, I try to shoot under 100.
Yeah, I'm like a 100 guy, but also like in a scramble,
I'm a good 3. No, so I went on. I had a pretty good viral clip a couple weeks ago. I'm like, I am the best third man in scramble you could ask for. I have the vibes.
That could be a downfall though. Too many drinks and scramble, but
We keep it PG-13.
okay.
But like I have the vibes, and like I will get a hold of one. For me, it's about piecing together a good drive with a good second shot, with a good third shot, with a made putt.
Yeah,
Or
see, I'm
whatever
like
the
a
sequence
3,
is.
but I can also like
I can be a 4
I can
too.
drive. You know, I can hit it 380, 400 yards.
You can hit 380.
Yeah.
You got that in your bag.
Yeah, I mean, I literally did. I was 1 round away from like the World Long Drive Championship.
How did that come about?
Literally, my senior year of college football, we had a senior dinner. The last week of camp, he took us to the country club, and we just went out to the driving range before. And I played baseball my whole life. I was a really good baseball player.
You got that
And we
motion.
started smashing balls, and people were like, "Holy shit!" Like,
You get a hold of one.
and so after I stopped playing, I moved to Chicago, and I lived right. I always played golf, kind of like
A little bit.
but and then I lived right next to this like golf training place. Went over there, and I was like, I kind of want to get decent at golf. Hit on the track, man, and my club head speed was like 140, and they were like, whoa.
Yeah, I'm like a 120.
And then so I started training. I got up to like 146, 147 club head speed. But I wasn't. The problem was, and the reason I stopped doing it was like, I had the speed, but I wasn't a great golfer. And like the guys that are really good, you have to have a good like golf swing for the accuracy. And so I just, if you're like, it would have taken so much effort to like
Make
be
it.
super competitive.
And I feel like the money's not really there. Like,
No. Now it's a little more because of socials. You
Sure.
you could do some good content, but This is like 2017, and so yeah, it was like it was costing me a lot of money to go to these competitions.
Yeah.
The clubs alone are like, you know, because you have to have a special long drive head. It's like a 4-degree
Right.
head.
I've heard that.
And then the shaft is like $400 because you snap shafts all the time. But it was fun, and it's still fun to have in the bag of a scramble.
You got to play in the Juice Golf Tournament. We'll get you on the YouTube channel. We'll get you out to Fresno.
Yeah.
We'll get you out to Fresno. Tell me.
All right, it's sneaky.
It's sneaky. It's sneaky.
You got the drip on. Look at the stack.
Slade.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slade. Yeah, Slade.
Don't get.
More drinks I have less buttons.
Wait, I don't even. What's the
Slade played football at Alabama.
sick? What
Like
year?
dog.
18 to 21.
Were you with Mac?
Investment. Or Hefford? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first 2 years. Yeah. I thought you were Jones.
No.
Which we're all three Franklin, so we got to get.
Oh wait, who was I just with in New York? That's like boys with Mac. Played at Duke.
Pierce?
He played.
Linebacker at Duke. Tore his knee up. Like he was supposed to meet us out. That's why I was like.
I don't know.
Well, there's a guy, Tate Davis, he's walking up right now.
Okay.
Hefford.
I think Mac might come over to the party later. So
He texts me.
Yeah,
He's supposed to come right now.
he's big time.
He's big time. He's big time.
I like to think so.
Todd, end with this. Tell me why your nose strip's the best in the game.
So without getting too sciencey, like it took us a year and a half to design it, which it doesn't look that crazy. But the biggest thing is the way it's connected is not attached to the bridge of your nose, so it's the smallest, and then it dilates straight out, and so it's way smaller, way less pull, but the actual amount of air that it increases.
I'm feeling great.
Yeah, it's like the most efficient. So like and it stays on, dude. I've worn these things for 12 hours in saunas and cold plunges in Finland, and they don't come off. So
Wow.
I think we'll see. Like this fall, like our goal, we're gonna flood locker rooms with these.
Good.
So if anyone out there that's playing college football, we'll send you a free pack.
Good.
Just DM me.
Good. Well, Todd, I appreciate your time, man.
It was awesome.
Good shit. I can't wait to go to your party in a couple hours.
We'll get a couch dialed up for the party.
That's what we need, baby. That's what we need. Yeah. Guys, Todd Anderson, go get some sleep gear from Dream Recovery. Fuck Michigan, and we'll see you next week.
Appreciate it, bro.
Easy?
That was awesome, bro.